Welcome back to Anxious to Align, Tuning the Soul. I am your host, Holly Ann, and today we're going to talk about something that is often overlooked, ignored, or brushed off just as biology. But I want you to hear this. Your cycle is sacred. It's not just about PMS, fertility, or that dreaded time of the month. Your cycle is an energetic, emotional, and spiritual rhythm that, when understood, can become one of the most powerful tools for healing, creativity, and alignment. But anxiety and chronic stress can hijack this rhythm. And when that happens, we don't just feel off, we lose touch with our natural flow of intuition, creativity, and power. I'll never forget, it wasn't that long ago when I first started learning about the deeper layers of the cycle. For many years, I only felt associated with my period with pain, exhaustion, or something to push through. I was never taught that each phase holds gifts: creativity, magnetism, truth-telling, deep listening. I wasn't taught that these phases are designed to flow in harmony with our body and spirit. So if you've ever felt like your energy is all over the place, like one week you're on fire, the next week you can barely get off the couch, you're not broken. You're living in rhythm. But anxiety and stress are constantly buzzing in the background, and that rhythm gets distorted. So today, we're going to explore the 4 phases of your cycle, like a guided tour to your inner seasons. And I'll show you how anxiety weaves itself into each one, plus the practices that bring you back to harmony. So let's start with the big question. Why isn't this common knowledge? For centuries, the medical science prioritizes studying the male body because it was seen as more stable and predictable. The female body, with its shifting hormones, was labeled too complicated. Instead of leaning in, researchers often just excluded women from the studies. That left us with a massive knowledge gap. You know, because we're too complicated and we're all different, right? And so this isn't just about missing medical facts. This erasure has kept women disconnected from their own power. But your cycle isn't just about reproduction. It influences your brain, your chemistry, your emotional states, your creativity, your spiritual connection. Ancient traditions knew this. Many indigenous cultures saw menstruation as a sacred time of visioning and renewal. The cycle itself was linked to the moon phases, waxing full, waning, new, and to the earth seasons. It was a spiritual rhythm. But fast forward to modern times, we've been taught to treat our bodies like machines. Push through, be productive no matter what, ignore your body's call for rest. And when symptoms show up, you're often handed a pill rather than education. This disconnection fuels anxiety, because when we don't understand the rhythm, every shift can feel like something's wrong with us. But what if instead we learn to see those shifts as natural, purposeful, and sacred? So I would like to go over the 4 phases, the 4 seasons, starting off with your follicular phase. This would also be known as the spring. So the biology that teaches us, it begins after menstruation. I know a lot of times people say day 1 is your first bleed, but this would be the day after your last bleed. So as estrogen rises, energy slowly lifts, your brain chemistry supports creativity, learning, and optimism. On the spiritual lens, this is your rebirth season, like the first blooms after winter, curiosity, hope, expansion, that all returns. So practices like something new, Journal dreams, visions, try breath work to open your chest and expand your energy. Ask yourself, what do I want to plant this month? For me, this was when all my ideas would come in, they would literally flood in. But I really have to decipher what I want to do. This is where I like knowing my human design, my gene codes, and all of that, because I'm a manifesting generator, so I want to do everything that enters my mind. This is where the ADD mind comes in. I mean, holy fuck, I am always in overload. So, when anxiety comes in, if anxiety is buzzing in here, you may miss out on that fresh start of energy. Instead of dreaming big, you get stuck in mental loops, overthinking everything. The next phase is the ovulatory phase, the summer phase. So this is around mid-cycle when your estrogen starts to peak, ovulation occurs, oxytocin rises. This is your confidence, your verbal fluency. I can't say it. This is when that peaks. Oftentimes, I've noticed myself often, I feel really pretty. That confidence really starts to kick in. And so this is your radiant season, your magnetism, your outward connection and expression. Your aura feels expansive. So practices during this season, speak your truth, host gatherings, record podcasts, lead meditations, move your body with dance or outdoor walks in the sun. For me, this is where I can really take action on things, put things in order, prepare, write my podcast, and make sure everything's ready to record. So this is all like the, preparing part, putting everything in order. So that I can start recording or can do things. So the anxiety impact in this section, instead of, enjoying this expansion, anxiety might make you feel pressured to overbook, overextend, or people please. You may feel drained after social interactions instead of nourished. The next is the luteal phase. This is fall. So after ovulation, progesterone starts to rise. The body turns inward, preparing for rest or pregnancy. Your focus starts to sharpen. Sensitivity heightens. PMS may start to appear here. On a spiritual lens, this is the truth-telling season. Discernment, shadow work, and release. The veil is thinner around what no longer serves you. Good practices are journaling, yin yoga, sound, reflection. You can ask yourself, what needs to be released? What am I avoiding? For me, this is really the time when I start to slow down. And I've noticed it, usually it's like the week before my bleed is I really start to see it slowing down. So if I don't have stuff ready that I can just do and get out there, I can't do it. I can't. That phase where it was during summer or even spring, that energy, I don't have it here. So if it's not all together, done and ready that I can just start recording or to start, everything has to be set. I just can't. It gets way too overwhelming. And once that happens, I'm down. I'm done. Everything kind of shuts off and I can't. It is so hard, or has been hard for me to start back up on things. The anxiety impact here tends to magnify irritability, intrusive thoughts, self-criticism. It can turn healthy discernment into harsh judgment or withdrawal, and that hits hard. I shut down. Literally cannot do a thing. Then last but not least, the menstrual phase, winter. Your hormones drop, The uterine lining sheds. The body asks for deep rest. This is your sacred pause. The veil between conscious and subconscious thins. Deep intuition and guidance flows if you allow rest. Good practices are womb meditations, dream journaling, spiritual rituals, energy clearing baths. This is a time for reflection, not action. This is when I am checked out. And I've noticed this, and it was probably the beginning of this year when I first started to finally give into it. And then that way it would not, I lost my train of thought. It just, I needed to slow down. I needed to stop. I needed to rest. And it really helped and really made things come forward when I finally gave into this. And so the impact on anxiety in this phase makes it harder to surrender. Instead of resting, you push through, missing intuitive downloads and increasing exhaustion. I was always exhausted during this time, and I had to force myself to shut down, even though I tried pushing through. So now I want to move on and let's talk about anxiety and stress, how they actually interfere with the sacred rhythm. So when you're living in chronic stress, your body produces high levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. It is like that friend who barges into the room and takes over the conversation. Suddenly no one can get a word in. It hijacks the delicate balance of estrogen and progesterone, which are the key players in your cycle. When this happens, several things can show up. Energetically skipping phases. Instead of moving through all 4 seasons, you feel stuck. Maybe it's always stuck in winter. You are always feeling heavy, fatigued, unmotivated, maybe even always stuck in fall. You're overly critical, anxious, and everything feels irritating. You lose the flow and the rhythm that is meant to carry you. I was always tossed between winter and fall. I never had a summer. I never had a spring. It was always winter and fall. Always. Until I started focusing on it and really paying attention to my energy and what I felt where. Another is amplified PMS and cycle symptoms. Stress can make cramps worse, bleeding heavier, your mood more erratic. Anxiety has a way of magnifying discomfort in the body. Right? It's dis-ease, not disease. Muted intuition. Each phase is designed to carry intuitive wisdom, but anxiety drowns it. Instead of hearing your body whisper, rest here, or speak up now, your nervous system is screaming, stay safe, stay on alert. A loss of joy and creativity in spring and summer phases, when you're meant to feel most magnetic and expressive, anxiety clouds that radiance. You may feel blocked, stuck, or unable to fully enjoy your liveliness. And this creates a cycle within a cycle. Stress, hormone disruption, feeling off, more stress. But here's what I want you to remember. Your body is not broken. It's always working to return to balance. Even if you've been disconnected for years, you can reestablish harmony by beginning to regulate your nervous system and listening again. I want to be really transparent here. I know this disruption personally. For years, I thought I had endometriosis. I was actually diagnosed with it in 2015. I had all the symptoms: severe pain, exhaustion, the deep heaviness in my body. But recently, back in August of 2025, I learned I actually had adenomyosis. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And I'll be honest, getting that clarity brought up a lot of emotion for me, because I was working with someone who did energy work, and she kept saying a lot of frustration was coming up. And frustration at how many years women are left in the dark about their bodies became more clear. Relief that there was finally a name that fit what I was going through, but also sadness for how much anxiety and uncertainty that it had created in my life. Because when you don't know what's happening in your body, your nervous system goes into overdrive. Every symptom feels like a threat. Every month I was bracing myself for pain, which only made the pain worse. That's what chronic stress does. It amplifies. But no one really ever believed how much pain I was. I was told more recently that I'm basically going through labor every month. I honestly don't know what that feels like because I don't have kids, but that's a lot of fucking pain. And to be going through it every month is wrong. And that's why this conversation matters. It's not just about hormones and cycles. It's about the emotional and spiritual cost of living disconnected from the truth of your body. So what do we do with this awareness? How do we begin to restore harmony when anxiety has thrown us off track? The first thing is awareness itself. Just knowing that your cycle is a rhythm and not just random chaos changes the game. Once you see the pattern, you start to notice the way your body leads you. Here are some ways to realign. 1. Cycle tracking, a sacred practice. Start by simply noting where you are each day, your moods, your energy, creativity, your anxiety levels. You'll begin to see your personal map over time, and you can anticipate your inner seasons and work with them. I always used an app to help me, because I have a hard time always writing stuff down. I will and I won't, and then I'll write it down randomly somewhere else. So I always used an app, and I remembered what cycle I was in. I did sign up for, it was MyFlow, not the Flow app, but MyFlow. And actually, she is someone local to me, Alyssa Vitti. I think that's how her last name is, Vitti. And she created this app with foods and all this other stuff. So I added my stuff into that and what I've been doing and really getting to know my body and adding all of my stuff into this cycle. And so over time, you can start to anticipate your inner seasons and work with them and not against. 2, phase-specific alignment. Spring, your follicular phase, ask yourself, what new seeds am I ready to plant? Trying affirmations or vision boarding, writing things down. Summer, the ovulatory, lean into expression and connection. Schedule your interviews, social gatherings, or creative launches. Fall, the luteal phase, make space for shadow work, journaling, sound baths, or breath work to release what's bubbling up. Winter, your menstrual phase, allow rest. Cancel what you can, go inward. This is when downloads, intuitive guidance often arrive. Nervous system care. Anxiety shrinks your window of tolerance, meaning small things feel overwhelming. Breathwork, meditation, and sound therapy expand that window. Even just for a few minutes of humming. Humming is the best. Humming, toning, slow breathing. You don't need to go out and buy any of that. You have your own tone. You can tone into either energy, anything like that. Humming is amazing. and it's your own voice. So these can signal safety to your body and help your hormones recalibrate. Give yourself permission to rest, especially in the winter phase. Culturally, we've been taught to push through. But rest is not laziness, it's medicine. Imagine if every month you gave yourself just one day of deep rest. That one day could ripple into everything else. Some people need a day a week, a few hours a week. That's okay. It doesn't just have to be in the winter phase. But you do want to prioritize rest in the winter phase. Your spiritual intention. Ask your soul different questions in each phase. Spring, what is possible? Summer, where can I shine? Fall, what do I need to release? Winter, what is my deepest truth? Living this way, your cycle stops being a problem to manage and becomes a rhythm that supports your healing journey. So when I talk about restoring rhythm, I'm not talking theory. I am deepening this myself. When I finally gave permission to stop pushing through and actually honor the seasons of my cycle, everything started shifting. During my luteal and menstrual phases, instead of fighting my body or trying to keep up with the same pace, I'm starting to slow down. I let myself cancel plans, clients. They have been utterly and so grateful in this period. I am so lucky to have amazing clients that I've seen this through. I've had to cancel a class that I signed up with another company, and they were absolutely amazing about it. They let me just reschedule it. I leaned into sound therapy, journaling, even though journaling's not my strongest suit, and sometimes it's not always for everyone. But I am definitely, when I am called to do it, I do it. And I stopped questioning. I'm like, oh, I don't want to write now, or I don't want to do this. I just started doing it. And it's been so much help. And resting. And here's the wild part. The more I'm allowing it, the less anxious I feel about the pain. That doesn't mean that adenomyosis is going to magically disappear, but it meant I no longer felt powerless in the face of it. I began to trust that my body was guiding me and not betraying me. And I will say my last period was amazing, and it was only one day. Now I'm still having the naproxen help me. As most of you know me, I am extremely holistic, and I only reach for meds unless I have to. But now, since it's only been like 2 days of taking it instead of 4, it's been working down from 4 to 3, now down to 2. It's been amazing. And I do owe it all to this work. And that trust has changed my entire experience. I stopped seeing my cycles as something to dread, and I started seeing them as a rhythm to walk with. So as I close today, I just want to say this. If you've ever been misdiagnosed, misunderstood, or made to feel like your pain doesn't matter, you're not alone. I've walked and been walking this path. I know what it feels like to be searching for answers, holding on to anxiety because your body feels unpredictable. But I also know the freedom that comes when you start listening inward. Your cycle is not against you. Even if it comes with pain or complexity, it carries wisdom. And when you align with it, you stop fighting yourself. You start coming home to yourself. So my invitation for you this month is just to notice. Notice your inner seasons. Notice where anxiety creeps in. Notice what shifts when you allow yourself to rest, breathe, and to listen. That noticing will begin the start of your healing journey. And if you want support in regulating your nervous system and deepening your relationship with your body, I'd love to walk with you along in my program Aligned to Wellness, or even in just a few sound therapy sessions. Your body is not broken. It is your teacher, your ally, your guide, and every cycle is another chance to remember that. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and I'll see you in the next episode.